Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Reviews where today we're going to be checking out a track from an act named Mofabdi titled Ghosts. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves a track on the screen off of the album Groove On, and we're going to listen through it from start to finish and we're going to hear what we think. Let's go. There's lyrics too, which is good. It's nice to have the somber kind of guitar groove with the bass and drums.
I soon realized it's haunted. The furniture levitates and you're the monster hiding in my closet. I'm grabbing my lighter, gasoline and shovel. Ghosts haunting me again. Ghosts, they follow me until I'm dead.
I like the fact that the vocals sort of go around the headphones at that second time there, as if it's a thought swirling around your head.
Ghosts, they know how to fuck up the game. Ghosts, they always find out where I live.
I like the fact that we also had an instrumental break. You don't always get that. It's nice to have a moment for the bass to kind of pick up a little bit, show what it's capable of.
Like it's missing me. You don't know who you're dealing with. Even I don't know who you're dealing with. Ghosts haunting me again.
I mean, it's interesting storytelling, it's an organic performance.
They follow me until I'm dead. Ghosts, fuck up the game. Ghosts, they always find out.
Because I was thinking, how are we going to continue this track if we're having a consistent verse-chorus thing that's 7 minutes 26? To have like the ghosts, the kind of the talking, moving around the headphones there with a drum solo, it's a nice way to switch things up. incredibly dramatic, but the increase in intensity there with the distorted guitars is kind of nice. It builds off the drama instantiated in the lyrics. Elegant falsetto as well. I'm impressed with that. That's not hella helpful falsetto, man. Almost becomes more of an instrument at that point, you know? I mean, it's wonderfully atmospheric. We're going to continue to keep at that. Good. Good. I'm looking forward to adjusting. Yep. Well done bringing it down. I mean, I thought it was a thoroughly fantastic piece of music. There was no filler within the 7.5 minutes. No, it's great storytelling. I'm really happy with that. I didn't initially get it at first. I was unsure about how to cope with it. But yeah, no, I think I've got it. We're going to talk about that more in the conclusion. And welcome to my conclusion of this track from an act named Mofabdi. It's called Ghosts, off of the album Groove On. Now, what do I think this track is about? I think this track is about someone who's maybe dealing at least with the demons of his past there. At the end, we start wondering about the effect we're having on our friends and family and everything like that, and asking what the fuck's wrong with us and everything like that. And I started to think that maybe this is like the journey from the start, or maybe the depressive state, and kind of like coping with all the issues and how things surrounded you, getting closer to the end where like you're starting to really sort of like have a breakdown, and then eventually realizing you're just going to continue to grow on. Because, if you continue to remain upset with yourself, it doesn't necessarily solve anything. It's obviously more complicated than that. It's probably a lot more nuanced than that. The lyrics are a lot more poetic than my description of it, but that's basically my interpretation upon listening to it. I think the ghosts are like the voices swirling around the head and everything like that. I thought it was very, very well told. The vocals are sensational. We're clearly very sort of comfortable with the way we want to sort of express ourselves to the listener. We've got a comfortable on head and chest voice there, nice vocal technique. Great use of falsetto in that later stage after the last verse there, wonderful in the upper register. Just really soared above everything else with the guitars, bass, and drums. And ultimately, especially with like the parts who were sort of like screaming, the ghosts part where people were sort of talking, it was going around. There's a lot of different ways of approaching the actual storytelling with the voice. And I don't think we missed at any point. It seemed organic and sincere, and it seemed like they really sort of cared about it, and that's what matters. The track at 7 minutes 26 is long. It's a long track, and again, the first 2.5 minutes, I was like, okay, how are we going to extend this to 7.5. You know, we had verses and sort of chorus kind of elements going on there. But then we got into the interlude section where we focused on the ghosts. We had like a drum solo kind of thing. And then we had like that last part with the vocals where we kind of finished off the last half of the storytelling, and then boom, sort of guitar solo, sort of noise rockish kind of atmospheric part, and then we kind of came off. And all in all, I thought it was a good way of sort of exploring that. I don't think we rushed any elements. And ultimately, it's just incredibly satisfying to listen through the journey in full and really sort of vibe it out. I thought that the band, there was, you know, like they seamlessly transitioned between elements. They sounded like they had a great sort of chemistry, and you can tell they're all fairly, you know, really polished musicians. If I talk about a few of my favorite instruments out of this, I think that the guitar parts were sensational. They're relatively low key, you know, that we had sort of like strummed parts. There was some arpeggios, occasionally some natural harmonics near the end, moving into sort of big sort of power chord or sort of distorted overdriven aesthetics there, with a tremolo picked kind of lead guitar solo with lots of misty sort of reverb delay. And there was a nice range of different approaches to these. We didn't get too particularly complex with the harmonies and stuff like that at any point. What I do like though is that we effectively tried to make the focal point the vocals, and then when they weren't there anymore, we switched off to another instrument. Like we had the bass, for example, which was relatively sort of like respectful of the root notes' position, the sub register, but we also had some moments where like a little more sort of technical there, switched up the rhythms a little bit, and explored the fretboard a little bit as well in the break between the first and second verses. And yeah, that was well handled as well. There was a nice sense of pace with that. They did sync really nicely with the drums. The drums were the mixture of sort of cymbal, hi-hat, and kind of kick grooves there. Cymbal, hi-hat, snare, and kick grooves, should I say there. And with lots of crashes there. They explored the kit as well. It was more of a support instrument for a lot of the part until we got to that sort of drum solo in that midway point. And we really started getting spicy with the toms, and then inevitably it just became huge sounding when all the instruments kind of built themselves up together and manifested, and it was just huge. It was really wonderful. It was kind of like a representation of the bigger moment that the singer was going through at that point after the grooving on part, and it was satisfying to reach that climax. The theme itself sounded wistful and nostalgic for a bit of time. There wasn't a lot of happiness within it. There may have been some sort of major chords in there, but the tones of the guitars were kind of crushing a little bit in the sense that it sounded like we were still kind of weighed down by our feelings and emotions. There was a sense of loss and kind of like we're trying to break free in that solo section there with the way it sounded like this. The solo was floating like a ghost there. And ultimately, it was just incredibly atmospheric the entire time. There was a gradual build throughout the entire track towards that in part, which makes sense. I like the fact that we respected the journey and the build. It makes for interesting listening when you kind of add more and more as you go along. It kind of gives the listener something more to listen to. It makes them wonder what's going to happen next. Yeah, I think there were some nice variations with the different sort of rhythm elements as well. There were full 4 sort of main rhythms, quarters, eighths, triplets, and sixteenths explored, and ultimately things were nicely niched in regards to the instrumental layers. There wasn't a note out of place, very tight. And, finally it's just studio recording, mixing, and mastering. With that, I think that the vocals sounded nice and present, so the guitars, bass, and drums there, the different guitar layers. I think that we had a wonderful time with, like the way things were niched in the frequency spectrum and the stereo field. Things are nice and wide and well balanced. The levels overall, there was a lot of dynamic range. Things were not staying loudness the entire time either, which was good. There were natural changes in that range. And I think ultimately the use of like the delays on the vocals to then go from side to side and the variation of that, not having the same kind of approach the entire time with the ghosts, but was really cool. It just shows we were trying to make more of an experience rather than just we weren't just trying to tell a story. We were trying to get the listener sort of lost in that world there. And with the panning of the other elements within the stereo field, again, it was huge. The sound was huge near the end. It was nice and loud without pumping, so the bus compression limiting was handled, and ultimately I thought the studio production matched the quality of the performance and the songwriting. But, effectively that is my review of this track from an act named Mofabdi, titled Ghosts, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show them some love via their various social medias and their Spotify page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as need to help more than ever thought of crazy stuff going on in the world. And I'll catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.